50 piles of poop on the wall every day, okay? Because poop doesn't stick to the wall. That's what I'm doing. But it's like, is bankruptcy an option? If you're in the private sector and you're operating a private sector business, you have a lot of options. Government is, there are firewalls everywhere, and I'm amazed by the firewalls. And there's days I just shake my head and I think, when did this firewall get built? And it's like, I'm a sitting senator. I was elected. There are many times that my office wants information that we have to file right to know requests to some department in the state of Pennsylvania. You know, and I'm going to be good tonight because I know somebody in here is either recording or writing down, but that's baloney, okay? I shouldn't have to do that. And so we're going to unravel the state of Pennsylvania. And you know, you can see why I'm not frustrated, but my level of determination becomes greater and greater every time I run into a firewall. And when that happens, that's why 2 weeks ago I made the comment that I made about when we had the governor down on the floor, you know, when we had our foot on his throat and everything, we should have let him up. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said we had him down on the mat. But please, I invite you to come to Harrisburg, and you know, we can have a discussion. And maybe there's a way, but what I'm being told by some of the best attorneys, that they're constitutionally we cannot do it, and then we've got the Supreme Court problem. So, Senator, we have a question back there.
Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Raymond Foster, and I would like to ask you, those lawyers that you talk about that say it's constitutionally that you can't do something, I would like them to quote you out of the Constitution what that is. Because to my knowledge of the Pennsylvania Constitution, there's nothing in there about retirement programs.
Here's what I'll do. Jason is my chief of staff in the back. We'll do some research, and we'll put it on paper, and we will email it back to Rod with an answer. But I didn't pay attention to state government class when I was in high school. Maybe I should have, but I can tell you when I talk about firewalls, I've never run into firewalls, you know, to the extent, and I've never had firewalls in business because I've never been in that situation. But I'm telling you something, our government, whether it's a state or federal, I can only imagine like what it's in Washington. There are 50 firewalls in Harrisburg. You get through one, the next thing you know, the next one's 18-inch concrete with reinforced rebar, and you got to jackhammer that for 6 months or blow it up. Then you got to get through the next one. But we will get you an answer.
Senator, we have 2 more questions.
Yes.
Yeah, real quick, I don't want to beat this dead horse, but what you're telling the people in this room is constitutional. They're all dead. We got to keep paying the taxes till we die. I don't understand how the liberals and the progressives can distort the Constitution so badly that they use it for their benefit. When the good guys come out here and attempt to use the Constitution, they get shot full of holes and you can't do this, it's unconstitutional. I can't buy that. I'm looking for state representatives and senators that will go head to head with some of these corrupt politicians. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much.
I would like to ask you a question. I'd like to ask a question. I was elected in a special election. I served from April until the end of last year, of 2014, and I served last year. Do you think I stirred Harrisburg up? I'm asking you what you know of me and you've read of me. Have I made waves and stirred up Harrisburg?
Sure have.
Because if you don't know this, let me tell you, my very first kill in Harrisburg was Senator Majority Leader Dominic Pileggi. He's no longer the Senate Majority Leader. So I would tell you, sir, that I would ask that you start learning about me, because I'm not going to tolerate bullshit from politicians in Harrisburg who get in my way. Trust me when I tell you, take that to the bank.
Well, then don't use the Constitution to tell me you can't do that, because everybody, you signed their death warrant.
I'm not telling you you can't. What I'm doing is I'm telling you the realities and the truth. I am not going to stand up here as a senator and tell you a lie that I know is a lie. That's what I'm not going to do. That's the difference between me and most of the people in Harrisburg. And I understand everyone's frustration. This is going to take time. And I'm telling you, I'm not going away. Trust me when I tell you this. And I got into a floor fight with the Senate Majority Leader and the Pro Tem on December 23rd. There are videos if you want to watch it. We got into a conversation about voting for tax increases over my dead body, I told them. And other senators, I have stirred up the Senate to the point that it's very interesting right now. And I don't want to be Senate Majority Leader. Senator Corman is the leader, and he needs to be the leader. And I will help him in any way to help him become a better leader and a more effective leader. But do not bullshit me. And I'm sorry to use that term, but do not bullshit me, because I am there to do a job. I'm a private sector person. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to serve until 68, and I do not have time to be bullshitted by people and waste my time, because I have a greater life outside of the Senate. Please learn about me. And the other thing is, I have cards tonight. If you are not getting my emails, I have cards showing you how to sign up to get on my website. And if you haven't read the papers in the last 2 weeks, my name is everywhere. Pick up Penn Live, Politics PA, my name is everywhere. And guess what? I really don't care, because I'm there to do a job.
One final question, Senator.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for coming tonight. We're very grateful. You and Representative Gillen are examples of people who keep me from becoming completely cynical about our political process. My question is, would you please give us what you consider to be a likely scenario for the end of this budget process? Don't make an absolute prediction, but give us an example of one way this could work out actually, and as you know it.
We sent a budget to the governor's office from the Senate on the 23rd. On the 29th, he chose to accept a large portion of the budget and blue line other areas. We are going to have to work through the areas that he blue lined, and we're probably going to have to do some requests for funding from Treasury. We're going to work through this, but I can tell you, I don't know all the mechanics, but my expectation is we are going to work through this without a tax increase. Period. What the governor did do is he cut Senate funding, I believe, he cut it down from basically, he cut it down by almost 45%. The Senate had to go out and borrow $15 million, a $15 million credit line. And we are maxed out on that credit line. The governor's playing hardball. But here's where I have a problem with Governor Wolf. I told you at my waste company, I have various companies. In my waste company, I employ about 375 people. Tomorrow is payday. Everybody will receive their checks starting at 2 o'clock in the morning. So throughout the day, direct deposit. Those paychecks that are being issued tomorrow, there will be $15,000 at a minimum of employee withholding that goes to the state of Pennsylvania. Tomorrow, on Wednesday morning, next Wednesday, my company will ACH that money to the state of Harrisburg, or to the state of Pennsylvania, the Treasury. We don't send checks, it has to be ACH. If I buy a $200,000 truck, or actually a front-load garbage truck is $300,000 now. If I buy a truck tomorrow, we pay 6% sales tax. So the cash flow continues. I mean, Governor Wolf needs to understand that I'm not totally stupid, you know, and I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. And so a lot of people need to understand, you know, how the cash flow works in Harrisburg. We had a meeting with some Treasury folks this week, and what I learned is the media has played up the fact that the state of Pennsylvania had to go out and borrow $2 billion. Okay? Well, here's the problem and the myth, and I actually learned and got corrected. The state of Pennsylvania didn't borrow that money from a bank. They borrowed it from Treasury, money that all of you in this room have been sending to Harrisburg every single day since July 1st. So they borrowed it from their own piggy bank. But the media has picked it up that the state of Pennsylvania is in such dire financial shape that it had to go out and borrow $2 billion from a bank. Well, that was bullshit. Okay, they borrowed it. Basically, the general appropriation fund had to borrow $2 billion from Treasury. And as we continue every single day, anywhere you go tomorrow or tonight, you go somewhere and you buy something, you buy pump gas or whatever, you're paying taxes and the taxes are being remitted, most like gas taxes, within 10 days. So I firmly believe that we will get this budget mess straightened out without tax increases. The governor is going to come back in 2 weeks, he's going to want more tax increases. And I'm telling you something, trust me when I tell you this, the appropriations hearings are going to be very different this year because we are going to ask questions. In the past, probably for 30 years, and I don't know, Mark, if you've sat in on any of them, the appropriations meetings are like meet and greets, okay? The Secretary of DEP comes in, everybody shakes hands, Secretary, it's good to see you, we appreciate what you're doing. It's like, I mean, it's probably bordering on a meet and greet and a game show. Nobody asks any questions. We need to start turning rocks over, and I'm on the Appropriations Committee. Trust me, we're going to be turning rocks over this year. Stay tuned. Am I wrapped up? Any other questions? One here in the front.
What are you doing in 3 years?
I don't know yet. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Listen, you know what? There's one thing about Donald Trump. I watch what Donald's saying, okay? And Donald, there's times I think Donald should have somebody whack him with a plastic baseball bat before he goes out on stage. And as soon as he comes back off stage, should whack him again, okay? I mean, the guy should have some bruises on his head. The reality is that there are a lot of people in Harrisburg that have created their own little fiefdom, and they don't want it disrupted. And we have to ask a lot of questions, but I can tell you, there are people in Harrisburg, I guarantee you there's 20% of the people in Harrisburg, I wouldn't let them walk your dog. I'd be afraid for your dog, okay? I wouldn't hire them in my business, you wouldn't hire them in your business. It's time that we do some weeding out and we focus. It's like in business. I'm successful because I focus on the winners in my company, and we don't have time for people that aren't carrying their weight. So I don't know the answer, but I can tell you right now, it's going to be a very interesting 3 years up until 3 years. Okay. With that, I'm going to go. Now listen. Please, I ask you, and this is a card for my website. You can sign up, and if you don't get my emails, I ask you to consider signing up. And listen, if you have comments, email back. You are welcome to come to my office anytime in Harrisburg. Rod knows where to find me. I don't hide, and I'm going to tell you the truth. But as I was talking about the constitutionality of many things. There's one thing I have done in business. I learned a long time ago. You hire the best attorneys that money can buy. And I'm not talking $150 an hour. And I hire good attorneys, and I want to know what it's going to cost, and I want to know what the outcome is, and tell me the truth. And that's what we are up against in Harrisburg. And I actually engage outside attorneys. I've gotten advice on some of these things from outside attorneys, not an attorney inside the building in Harrisburg, which I have paid for personally, because I need to know the facts. If I'm going to go into a firefight, I need to know the facts, because I'm not going into a firefight and then walking out with 50 bullet holes in my body. I need to know the facts. So I will leave you with that. Please come to Harrisburg. I encourage you to sign up my website. And I'll also tell you, it's great to see everybody, and this is America. This is real America here tonight. So thank you for the invitation.
All right, folks,
You heard enough of me, obviously, tonight, or maybe not. I know my wife had enough of me, but anyway, aside from that, I told my computer broke down this week. I had a nice intro for my friend Frank Ryan, and I can't pull it out of my computer. However, speaking it from the hip, and also the fact that Frank has written a book, and I didn't read it yet, but I know Frank enough to know that whatever's in this book is worth reading. Anyway, he's back there with the opportunity to autograph them, and you can get them from him. But I want to say this about Frank is a longtime friend. I mean, I know him back when he ran for Congress and a few other places, and beyond that, he's always been a speaker anytime I wanted him for any of my other organizations. And he always did the job that we wanted to hear. But aside from that, his personal life, to be brief, he's got his CPA from St. Mary's College. Okay. And he's got his MBA in Maryland, and my eyes don't read fine print, so I'm not going to try to stumble through this, but I'd rather have you listen to Frank anyway, but you've always put to see his resume on the back of it. But aside from all that, I want to introduce my friend Frank Ryan, who has a real mastery of economics in this country and ethics.
One thing I wanted to mention to you about the book, if you don't mind, the proceeds of the net proceeds of the book go to take care of children with disabilities. That's why I wrote the book. I'm trying to raise awareness of what states are doing to families that have a child with disabilities and how it then creates a major problem. The book's a good news book. In 148 days, I can tell you categorically the American people are great people. In 148 days, I didn't have one bad experience. The problem we have is exactly what Senator Wagner has said, and I'm going to talk about the economy right now, is what we said is we've got laws that have been passed. We've got issues that people are claiming to be constitutional. Attorneys are saying that. I've heard the same thing. And whether we agree with it or not, you still have to get a judge to overturn it. But what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is about the economics. If you remember what I talked about 2.5 to 3 months ago, I said the stock market was going to go down, and the day after we were here, the market went down 350 points. Right now, the United States economy, the state of Pennsylvania, are on the verge of bankruptcy. There's no other way you can do it. I'm a CPA. I specialize in keeping companies out of bankruptcy. I made the comment that if oil prices don't go over $70 a barrel shortly, the economy is going to tip. They have not only not gone over 70, they've continued to head south. You're going to start to see the economic effects of it. So let me make this message loud and clear for Governor Wolf. The bankruptcy has already started. You are at the head of it, and only you can stop this out-of-control spending. Here's what's going to happen. The bullet's already going down. The hammer's been cocked. The round's ready to fire, and it's going to come out. What's going to happen is you're going to start to see municipalities go bankrupt. Puerto Rico has already declared insolvency. They're applying for a petition. And what Senator Wagner was bringing up, he's actually very much right on the money. And as he said, don't shoot the messenger. A state legally cannot file bankruptcy, but they can go away. Let me explain what that means. They can evaporate as an entity. All of those obligations go by the wayside. And so as an example, Puerto Rico right now has $70 billion in debt and no ability to pay for it. They want to go into bankruptcy to reorganize. And when that happens, it creates a situation where there's complete instability and the economy collapses. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably one of the few people that haven't been in the Marine Corps. I've been in 7 nations in my life that have collapsed economically. Some of them we caused. There's a group in the military that does economic warfare, and we help reduce an enemy's ability to fight us. But I can tell you what happens is, when an economy gets overburdened with debt, and we are there, It's not in another 6 months, it's already happened. The Federal Reserve cannot raise interest rates because if they do, the budget will get blown out of the